Do you get looked at from afar often, and people go?
Yeah, not so much kind of like from a distance. I have had people come up to me, in a shop and like in LA as well. I was in a CD shop there, and someone came up to me and said, "Aren't you from Doctor Who?" And I was like, "Did I just get recognised in a CD shop in LA?"
Yeah,
that's impressive.
That's never happened before.
No,
But
that's a good reach, isn't it?
Yeah, because when you're in a costume, obviously
Right.
you can't tell who you are.
Yeah.
But when because I'm not in costume, well, I'm in costume, but I'm not in costume.
Yeah.
And,
obviously, the wonderful hair makes you very noticeable as well. Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's obvious you are who you are.
Yeah, well,
For yourself.
yourself.
Well, maybe not at the moment with
No, yeah.
the braids and the bows. Questions, guys, comments, stories. My man in the front will hook us up soon. He's always good with questions. He does a Doctor Who podcast as well, so big fan himself there as well.
Till we met.
Keep plugging him. It's the way you do with podcasts. The only way we get anything more is by plugging ourselves. So I also host Get Geeked, which is the official podcast of GeekedFest. If you've had a listen to that, that's where you probably know my obnoxious voice from.
We got to do that sometime.
Anytime at all. Sounds good.
Cool.
It's always a lot of fun. We sit back, we relax, we chat. We let the guests talk about whatever they want. It's never Q&A. It's never. What I mean by that is it's never what was your first project and how was it working. It's just more of a conversation. Laid back chat. What are your favorite films? What are your favorite TV shows? That sort of thing.
How's the weather?
How's the weather?
Mhm.
Exactly. So, do you have a question?
Sure. What were your favourite films and TV shows?
There you go. See what we did there? That was a 1 and 2 that we worked out together.
Mine's Doctor Who. That's number one.
course.
Your-
Doctor Who, Supernatural, Grimm. My tastes range like a lot. I mean, I love rom-coms as well.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for rom-coms.
Yeah.
Phantom of the Opera is one of my favourite films. Viva Vendetta.
Yeah.
I'm not so good with horror films,
No.
but I'm okay with horror series, which is a bit strange.
Maybe the film's just a bit too much. Isn't it?
Yeah, I think with series you've got kind of got a shorter episode, so you don't have to kind of stick with it so long, and you kind of get used to the characters and everything, and you know what kind of scary it'll be.
Yeah.
So it's not too bad.
I don't do TV series either. You mentioned 2. Grimm, I got as far as the opening episode. Gentleman's looking into the camera and the wolf hits him or whatever it was. That's when I turned it off. Too scary. Supernatural, I got as far as the first season, the episode with the mirrors, where she was able to jump through the broken mirrors.
Yeah.
Too scary, turned it off. And then I usually go back to watching Only Fools and Horses or something.
Well, comedies are good. Yeah. Comedies are good. Sci-fi's good.
Yeah.
Basically, rom-coms can be good. Depending.
They need some good actors in them. For me, anyway, rom-coms,
Yeah.
they need a good, solid actor that you can enjoy despite the story. So that way, if your wife does make you sit down and watch a rom-com, at least you're like, oh, at least this guy's in it. He's really funny. You know, I haven't seen any good ones recently, though, unfortunately. It's a bit of a... I try to watch as many films as I can, but lately there's been nothing that's really grabbed me, which is why I love these conventions so much, because it's the old school stuff,
Yeah.
or the stuff that's pre-existing, got that history, because I just don't get invested anymore in the new things, I find. I don't know if anyone else feels the same way or anything, but what about recently then, something you've gone to the cinema and seen? Any great films you've gone to see recently?
What was my last?
Oh.
Oh no, my last film was Inside Out. The Inside Out the
Yes.
animation.
Right. Which I've heard is not technically for kids at all.
It's okay. But then one of the best films I've seen actually there's 2 films I've seen this year which stood out to me. The second film is Minions.
Yep.
And the number 1 film, I'm not biased because I'm in it, is Far From the Madding Crowd, which is due out on DVD and Blu-ray on the 31st of August.
There you go.
Nice
That's
plug.
Yeah, so that's what I mean as well.
Nice.
So,
2 films, so it's worth getting. It's a good film.
Absolutely. Sounds
It's a
good.
rom-com-ish, but don't worry, it's
I can handle rom-com-ish. I'm all about rom-com-ish. And if Judd Apatow wrote it, I'm fine with anything. Really.
we got a few
He's in it.
big names.
Yeah,
John,
yeah.
Michael Sheen's in it.
There you go.
We got what's her name? Kerry Mulligan as well. Juna Temple.
And my cousin's in there as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
I kept on flirting with her. She's quite kind of really cool actually. I must admit. But apart from that, it was good.
Do you get, maybe yourself more, but maybe both of you, do you go to these cons and get flirted with and get hit on and get people thinking that, you know, I could imagine, because I've seen people say some awkward things to guests at conventions. I don't know about yourselves.
It is fun.
I've heard things said to people where it's, I want to crawl in a hole in the ground, and I'm just 2 feet away from them. So I can imagine you've had some really awkward experiences with people and you're thinking, I love that you're a fan and you're really great, but it'd be great if you take a walk right now. Maybe it's just me because I'm more of a jerk than you guys. I don't know, but what do you think?
No one.
I'm going to say maybe. I was just going to say maybe to get away with it.
A couple of conventions I went to a convention the other day, and I was walking back from lunch, and someone just comes up to me and says, "Oh, are you the Weeping Angel?" I said, "Yes." He goes, "You're beautiful," and then just walks away.
Well, she's
Thank
beautiful.
Thank you.
Could have gone worse, couldn't it? He could have said, "Do you want to go for a drink? Can I have your number?" And then you would have had the old awkward experience, you know. But what about you? I'm sure you're always
I'm
getting
still
hit
going to
on.
give her my number. But anyway, that's not a matter. Yeah, I've had a few. This is quite interesting, quite fun.
Yeah.
But it just makes me laugh. It makes your day.
Yeah. I've seen you giving lots of cuddles this weekend, I do have to say.
Yes.
I've seen you giving lots of hugs.
I've turned into a huggy type now.
Yes.
First, when I started conventions, I was like, okay, a few hugs, and I thought, nothing of it. Then I thought, you know what? Let's just join the huggy group and just hug everyone.
Of course, because it's nice as fans, isn't it? If you get a hug off of somebody you really admire and respect, for me anyway, it makes my day.
And here's about this for a hug. After on set with Peter Capaldi and Jenna Coleman, right? The end of the set, we all just wanted to finish the set. I got a hug from Jenna Coleman.
Hey, Shane, the co-owner of GeekedFest, would be going crazy right now downstairs.
Basically, a lot of people are like, wow, and I'm like, I said, well, she basically just came up to me, she's like, put her arms around me. I was like, yeah, sort
It's
of.
just part of your day job, you
Yeah,
know?
no. Now I just hug everyone else. It's great.
Yeah.
Stars is great.
Absolutely. One of the instructions I was given by the owners of GeekedFest, Shane, one of them, huge Jenna Coleman fan, was host the Q&As, host the panels, be friendly, see if you can get me hooked up with Jenna Coleman. So, any of you guys have access for Shane to Jenna Coleman, you know where to find him
I
downstairs.
know someone who's got a number.
There we go. We're one step closer, Shane, if you're listening.
But the point
one
is,
step closer.
I can probably get in contact.
No, in reality, please don't. I've done my job by asking. I don't want anything to go any further than that. Any questions, guys? I know you're all Who fans. You can literally ask anything. Go ahead, sir.
I know you're the Weeping Angels, but is there any like bad guys that you looked up to as inspiration for Weeping Angels, or is there any like bad guys you think are even worse than the Weeping Angels?
Sheriff of Nottingham.
The Sabine freaked me out. I was like,
Yeah.
the big baby faces.
Yeah. I mean, the gas mask people,
Yeah.
they
yeah.
absolutely freaked
That
me
was one of my
out.
favourites.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean,
So creepy.
I think I was only about 15 when they aired that,
Mm.
and that was borderline, maybe a
Yeah,
little bit
fact-
too much.
Yeah.
Was it because one of them was your brother though?
Yeah, one of
Yeah.
them was my brother, which should have been better, but yeah, no, it was I you know, the fact that it was in that abandoned hospital, and you know, when it happens in the night time, it's always worse.
Of
You
course
know,
it is,
but
yeah.
they absolutely terrified me. I don't know what it was about them.
What about the Autons with the kind of dummy, dummies in the shops? You basically walk past them and you're thinking,
Yeah.
interesting. What would happen if? Yeah.
That's
You're walking
scary.
around,
Yeah,
walking
yeah.
around, like, and they all come alive. You're like, what do you do?
Run for my life.
What do you snap? Take loads of photos of them and just leg it up.
No, I'd be too I'd want to say that I would take pictures, but certainly I would run as
These
fast as I could.
These days, you know, there'd be like thousands of videos on YouTube from it, from
Yeah.
people that would stick around.
Yeah, somebody else is getting
till
footage. I'm
the
just gonna
moment
run.
that they actually come to them,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they're still videoing.
Yeah, it'd still be uploaded to YouTube
Yeah.
as well. Do you have a question? I saw that.
Have you been in anything else since the Weeping Angels? And well, you just said you've been in a film. Have you
Mhm.
been in anything else?
Casualty. Well, I started my my TV career with in Teachers with Andrew Lincoln from Walking Dead. Then I've done Casualty and Stella, the Far From Madding Crowd now, and Doctor Who. So basically, that's what I've done. I've done now a bit more filming with an execution film. No, what it's like. It's called basically an executioner film, which is TV show which is going to be coming out in September. I think it's with some of the Sons of Anarchy.
It looks really good.
No, I'm actually that's where I got the blood scenes on the fighting scenes. We were taught how to do fighting, so that's quite fun.
Excellent, yeah.
And then basically we just then covered in blood and just sticky blood, of course. And it was fun on a hot day as well. It was nice.
I can imagine.
Nice bath at the end of it.
Yes.
Now, how long does it take? Because obviously I don't genuinely know. How long does it take between you filming, let's say, an episode, and it actually being on the television. I know it could obviously be different and random, but in general, is it a year? Is it a much longer period of time? Does it happen rather quickly?
I would say yeah. What do you?
Yeah.
Well, I've done 5 episodes with Doctor Who now, and it's very varied. I mean, I think the first 2 episodes I did. I mean, I was filming with them for about 3 months, which they don't usually film for that long, so that took quite a while. I think that one aired then the next year. I think I finished after summer, and then it aired just before summer the next year then. So that was
about
a
a year
few months,
turnaround.
yeah. But then I did Matt Smith's last episode, the Christmas episode. I think I filmed that in October. Of course, that aired then in December then.
Yeah. So it's varied, but in general, it's about a year. Yeah. I imagine with effects, there's a lot of visual effects and things going on too, isn't there? So I imagine a sitcom would probably be a much faster turnaround with all the visual and effects and everything. Yeah, it was just curiosity of my own.
Did you ever actually get into the Doctor Who magazines or not with photos?
I don't think photos of me turned up. I mean, me as the angel.
Okay.
But not the behind the scenes shots.
You love this. When it came out, obviously before the episodes aired last year, what they had is they did it was the first magazine with Peter Capaldi in about him interviewing everyone. There's a nice single photo of me in there, and I was like, yes, bought loads. Bought the shop out as well.
As you would.
Christmas presents for the family.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so I got a photo in there, so basically that's quite cool. And obviously other Doctor Who magazines, I just literally look through and think, well, am I in it? No, don't buy it. Oh, I'm in it, buy it. So
it's great because you guys literally are your characters will live forever now with Blu-ray and digital, and it's always going to be there, which I think I assume would be a great experience to know that you'll be able to look back decades from now and show your family and your kids or your whatever it is. That, look what I did when I was young. I was in this great thing, because my assumption would be Doctor Who will still be going for many, many years, because it's such a huge thing now that, obviously there's the rumor that they'll take a year off in between the next year, but I still think it's going to come back strong, because, it's, and especially in Wales, because it's such pride here for it being filmed here and made here. And, when I worked in Cardiff and you would walk through and see random things that were being filmed over there, and you'd have a Cyberman walk by you on the way to the set, and people saying, oh, Capaldi's just around the corner filming, and if you can get high enough in one of the office buildings, you can see the TARDIS, and so it's really great. And I think everybody always gets really excited about it. There's never been I don't find anyone getting settled with it, and no one's used to it, if that makes sense. When I lived in Toronto, there were lots of TV shows and movies filmed, and it became they're filming down there. But I still find an excitement with Doctor Who. I think, but again, it's a pride. Maybe you guys can answer for me. It's a pride thing, because it's ours, isn't it? It's made here, it's performed here, and it's really, really great to do that.
They were filming in Cardiff for a month or so.
Yeah.
They had a London sign up as well.
Yeah.
It
The
was
cheek
like
of them.
random London sign on
The
the side
cheek
of
of
the
them.
road, just
Well, there
like
was-
airport that way. I was
There's
like,
rumours.
what airport?
I don't know how many episodes he's in, but as I say, they're rumoured with David Tennant around. I don't know what part
Yeah.
of the crossover.
Yeah. Anybody heard that rumbling? You may have.
There's a photo of him with Moffat taken a few days ago.
Yeah, see, so, and that could lead to anything. I think we mentioned yesterday that with the storylines and how they do on Doctor Who, it could be anything. It could go anywhere at any time and do absolutely anything. So you may have your ideas of what David Tennant's going to be doing in it, but he might not even be playing the Doctor. I mean, he could be doing anything, couldn't he?
Yeah, true.
I think it'd be a fun little twist if David Tennant did make a return episode but wasn't playing the Doctor.
Yeah.
I think that might send some people into a frenzy, which is always fun to see. Any questions, guys? Go ahead.
What was your first Doctor episode you just saw? Which one was your favourite?
So first episode and favorite.
The first one I saw was Christopher Eccleston's first one, because that's when I started watching, because I didn't know about Doctor Who before then. And the reason...
That's when it came back after quite a while.
Yeah. But I watched it because, of course, my brother was in it, so I was watching it kind of for him. But then my mum was like, "Oh, Doctor Who used to be, so amazing," and so she kind of made me watch the episode. But then I was like, "All right, okay, Mum, I'll watch it. It's fine." And then, of course, fell in love with it. Years later, still watching every episode, and
Basically, same thing. Basically, obviously 95, 96, 96. Basically, when it came out again, that was my first episode, Doctor Who, that I had seen. But then obviously did research, so I've seen obviously all the ones they've released at the moment. But my doctor is Sylvester McCoy. He basically, when I did my first amateur proper production in my hometown, Dorchester, he, as you know, is a director. He actually came to see the production. Now it was really good actually. I was told, I was a kid, I was like told that he was in the house obviously here, and I was like excited because I didn't actually know he was going to be there. I was then introduced to him. Fantastic. When I was introduced to him, my mind went blank on who on earth he was, and I was like, huh? I was basically completely surprised, and obviously didn't actually know who he was. It's only when after I'd met him, I then learned who he was, and I thought autographed photo would have been awesome. But obviously I've met him since then. But I was really pleased and honoured that he came to see me in production.
Of course, yeah.
And now, because when he does, every time I go and see my brother performing on stage, or doing any kind of productions, conventions or whatever, I always have in my mind that Sylvester McCoy moment. It comes to my mind all the time. I'm like, he came to do this for me. I want to go out there and do the same for everyone else.
Which is great, isn't it?
Spread the Doctor Who love.
Absolutely. And I think I've said in every one of the panels that we all appreciate so much that these guys come out and hang out with us, because I think it means the world to us to be able to shake a hand, take a picture, even a wave.
Yeah.
I've been at conventions where cast members of Star Trek, I've waved at them just walking by, and they've waved back, and I've been like, William Shatner totally just waved at me.
Have you done it with the proper, like?
With the proper.
Yeah. Like.
You're just so afraid to mess it up.
I can now do it. Wow.
There you go, in front of a, in front of a legit cast member. If you mess that up, you kind of look like a bit of a Momo, wouldn't you?
Well, every time I tried that, I did Diamond, it was all gone wrong, and now it's the first time I've done it now and here, and it works. So there you go. It's really good.
Now, Eccleston was the first Doctor you saw, but would you consider him your Doctor, or did it take you a little longer to fall in love, let's say, with your Doctor? Would he be yours, or?
It's difficult because Eccleston and Tennant were my doctors growing up.
Yes.
But then of course Matt Smith was the doctor I worked with, so it's hard because they all have like a special place, like as my doctors.
Yeah.
But for different reasons as well. But they're all such brilliant actors. You got to give it to the showrunners. They have amazing,
of course,
amazing actors. They're just the doctors.
Yeah.
They are the Doctor.
Especially with Matt as well. Because
Yeah.
at the time, so many people were like, who? This
Yeah.
guy's going to do a terrible job with the Doctor. You get 3 episodes in and you're like, he's doing an unbelievable job.
He
with
had
the Doctor.
really big boots to fill though.
Yeah. Of course.
Because everyone absolutely just fell in love with David Tennant. So, he had such a hard job.
Yeah.
And yet he did it.
He
He
did it
made
great as
everyone
well.
fall in love with him as well.
Yeah, some of my favorite Doctor Who moments would be certainly Matt Smith moments.
Mm.
And you don't think about it until you try to organize it in your brain, and I realized that a lot of my favorite scenes were always Matt Smith moments. For example, in the bedroom when he's first regenerated, and then he sees obviously Matt Smith in front of him, but he still thinks that he's David Tennant, and he says, well, who's that supposed to be? That's rubbish. That line killed me because it was so clever and so funny that he wouldn't yet realize that. Great scene, but he had so many of those little moments, didn't he? Where just a little pass away line that you would see probably on the script and think, there's not much in that. But Matt Smith, I think, made so much funny out of those little random moments, and the bow tie and the fez and so many things were just great about it. And I think that's what the genius of Doctor Who is. The character can go anywhere and do anything and be anyone, and that's already predetermined. They don't have to change the canon and change the history of the stories because it's already pre-written. The Doctor can change at any time, and we can make it anybody we want. And I think that's such an exciting thing to watch as a fan as well, because you literally never know what's going to happen next season or anything like that. And then I also love seeing the rumors and the press going crazy when they're going to announce the new Doctor. I try to explain to my friends back home how crazy it is that they do a live show just to announce him, and people are like, I don't get it. What do you mean? I was like, well, they're going to announce the new Doctor. They're going to do it on live television. I don't get it. Why doesn't TMZ just announce it? That's not how it works here, because it's such an excitement, isn't it? And I watched. I sat down and waited for him to come on, and for Capaldi to come out of the thing, and everyone's like, "Who's this guy? He's not going to be the Doctor." 3 episodes in, or however many it is, there he is again. He's the Doctor full on, isn't he?
Getting used to that.
Yeah,
of course.
What do you think of the first episode?
He's breaking in,
Yeah.
in a bit more than Matt Smith did.
Yeah, I think Matt Smith being, I don't know, maybe quirky, cute, and funny was easy to get into right away. Whereas I think I said yesterday, Capaldi's got a bit of darkness in him, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Looks like you're not sure whether you should be scared of him or not.
Angry
I like bringing the dark side
compared
back.
to-
Yeah. Because I love that about the
It's a
Doctor.
bit more spicy.
Yeah, because he does have a very dark history, doesn't he? He hasn't always been a good guy, shall we say? If
Well,
depending on how you look at it.
As a child.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So
But
I think
as you'll find in the whole all episodes of the current series with Capaldi, the Rebels of Sherwood, the one I'm in, is the most light-hearted, fun, family fun one they've got. So
Yeah.
So I'm pleased about that one.
Yeah, and I love they let him keep his accent as well.
Mm.
'Cause if you see certain shows where you know they're doing an accent and you can tell they're doing an accent. I'm just so glad they just let him be himself, because
Yeah.
then he can be more natural with the character and things like that, can he?
He is funny.
Yeah.
He played on that as well, though, didn't he? He was a Scottish. He was
Yeah.
Scottish, and
Yeah, which is
they
great.
really played on
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
actual actor.
Yeah, which I think is what's quirky and funny about Doctor Who, is they
Mm.
can make fun of those kinds of things. And when a character randomly says to Capaldi, "You look different," that's such a clever little dig,
Yeah.
a joke for us as the viewers, isn't it? Not for the
Yeah.
crew, anyone in the show.
So
Exactly.
there's no rules for when you
No.
regenerate, so you
No.
can turn into anybody.
Exactly.
One thing I think that saying yes, obviously, what I would be like to have a new Doctor or
Yeah.
obviously a Doctoress or
Yeah,
whoever.
yeah, of course,
in
yeah.
there. I reckon the next Doctor should actually be Welsh. The reason I say Welsh,
I
we've had
agree with that.
English,
Mhm.
we've had a couple of Scottish, so
Because the
And
Doctor
then-
is Welsh,
yeah.
isn't he? Ultimately, he's a Welsh.
and then an Irish
Crazy.
person at the end.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you might as well do the whole UK. You might as well say, right, I'll have Doctor here, and then.
Yeah.
As long as they never make him American, right?
Oh yeah, no Americans. Yeah.
No, Americans just be
No,
strange.
no, no, of course. Questions, guys? Stories? Comments?
If either of you could play again, I go back to Doctor Who and be any other character, bad or good, who would you most want to be?
Well, the dream is to be an assistant, isn't it?
Yeah, would be
Of course.
assistant.
That's
Apart from the obvious assistant.
We could both be assistants.
Which I think you
Yeah.
could both do a wonderful
Yeah,
job
we'll be
of course.
assistants, yeah.
Get a few more bows maybe for the assistant.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always wanted to see what it's like to play a Dalek. I think that would be really fun. But I'm a bit nervous. I mean, I went to a convention last year, and I did get to go in a fan-made Dalek. I was kind of driving round, but I was so scared about where I was going. I was afraid of running over people's feet and everything. So you've got such limited vision.
Mhm.
So they do a great job under there.
Yeah.
One thing I would like to actually try and do, because I've been told that I've got the body build for it, is to be an Ice Warrior. Now I reckon the Ice Warriors will come back sometime, and I
Mhm.
would love to be a part of it because I've got the body to do the right parts and
Yeah.
the height to be an Ice Warrior, and I try and get into that.
As a long-time professional wrestling fan, I could see you as a pro wrestler as well. The wrestling fans in the room totally agree with me. He'd be a great heel, wouldn't he? That scary, like, don't look him in the eye type heel. I think it'd be great.
Keep the bows if you do like that.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
just terrify them all.
Yeah, exactly. They would think that you were
That's
weak
just
because of
even
it,
more
but then
scary
you...
with the bows.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's just a red herring, isn't it? To
Makes
lead
you
them
look
away from...
nuts with the bows.
Yeah.
Well, what about the gentleman with the Doctor Who podcast? Any questions, my friend?
Sure. What bit of advice was most helpful to you each as actors, just anywhere where you've been working?
You answer.
You're making us think now.
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
remember.
Hey, when people do
how,
that to
how
me.
Dare, how dare you make us
Yeah.
think?
I can't even think of an answer, so.
No, I mean, being or doing acting, you do get a lot of rejection over the years. You just got to keep going, and it's nice when you hear stories about these actors. The actors they're quite big now. How they overcame all those rejections and everything, and how long it took them to get to where they are.
Yeah.
And that's a real inspiration, because sometimes you do feel, is there any, am I, is there any point
Yeah,
in me
of
doing this
course.
kind of thing?
Yeah.
But you just got to keep going, and it's nice to see that they've also had that journey. So
Yeah.
it's comforting.
Yeah, because even the biggest stars in the world,
Yeah.
you hear them tell stories of I was about to give up, and then this
Yeah.
came through, and it
Mm.
really feels like luck of the draw a lot of times. And
Mm.
obviously, you do need the
Mm.
talent and the things, but you can be as talented as you like, and it could still be like a lottery win, isn't it? Sometimes,
Mm. But never give up, never give in. That's what I was told. So I just keep on going.
Of course, I think the ones who do give in are the ones who never get anywhere with it.
Yeah.
Sure, it might take you 20 years, but then if you do land the role
Took
of
me
the
16.
assistant or of whatever
Yeah.
it is, it was always worth the battle because you never.
Well, it took me
Yeah, gave that
16
fight.
with my agency. It took me 16 years to get into Doctor Who, but I would love to have been in the 50th anniversary. I think everyone would have been
Yeah.
loved to have
Yeah.
been there. And I was like, okay, seeing it, I was really impressed, and I thought that would be awesome to be.
Yeah.
Hence why the year later, or 2 years, the year later, it's like you're in it,
Absolutely.
and I'm like, missed out, just missed out. But at the end of the day, I'm happy with what I got.
Absolutely, which is
I do it again and I want to do it again and again.
Which means you enjoy it, which is great, isn't it? Because if you wouldn't do it again, it's probably no point in doing it at all.
Yeah, you need to love what you're doing.
Yeah. So let's say I'm Steven Spielberg, and I'm going to put you guys in anything that you want because I have that power in Hollywood that I can just make a call and say, Matt's going to be in this.
I want to do everything, yeah.
But if you could pick one thing right now, anything you wanted, that I could just hand you into, what would you want to be in? What role? What film? What character?
I think, interesting. I would be obviously sci-fi and comedy.
Yeah.
I would prefer to be in Star Wars compared to Star Trek.
Here we are.
But
any hisses in the room? No. There we go.
The point is, if I was offered Star Trek, I wouldn't say no.
No.
Because something big like that, you wouldn't say no. Or horror, I've been told I'll be great in horror films. I'm like, I'm not really keen on horror films myself, but if I was in it, I'd probably like.
It's fun to be in them.
Yeah, you don't have to watch it back, do you?
Yeah.
You start it and you have to be in it.
But obviously comedy ones. I love comedy films.
Yeah.
Romantic rock. I don't mind being in rom-com. I'll happily be in rom-com.
Yep.
Any scenes.
So Star Wars would be the jump out, would
That'd
it be?
be nice, yeah.
What about yourself? If you got an open slate, I could put you in anything.
A film that I really want to get into. Do you know Assassin's Creed, the game?
Yeah.
Because they're making the films now.
Yeah.
I would love to be in the Assassin's Creed films. With the costumes and the action and.
There is some female characters in the games as well, so there's no reason why not. Really.
No, it's such a good storyline. The costumes, the action. It's got so much. In the game, obviously, I don't know about the films yet, but they it would just be amazing to be in that.
I'll put the skirt and dress on and then be in it. Gosh.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
I don't want to nerd out about Star Trek, Star Wars, but I almost went there because I'm a huge nerd. I love both, but there are major differences out there. I've always found Star Trek more, let's all be lovely to each other and live in a beautiful universe, which is great. Star Wars, it's going to sound very silly to say this, a little bit more realistic, as in every man's out for himself and it's grimy and it's dirty and if you follow me. Anyway,
and Doctor Who rules.
And exactly. Doctor Who, though, there's none of that. Anyway. Anybody want to chat about favorite episodes of Doctor Who, favorite moments, anything like that? We'll go to you guys as well. But
my favourite show is the Master episodes, Tennant battling with the Master over the period of the episodes. They're always my favourite episodes.
Yeah. Would you say Tennant's your Doctor then?
Next to Tom Baker.
Next to Tom Baker. Excellent.
Right, here's a question for you. Right, who would you want back, Danny Pink, or the Oswald? Either the
Osgood.
Oswald.
Osgood.
Osgood, yeah.
So Pink or Osgood, if you could have any one of them back in the show.
Yeah. Who would you have back?
Osgood's coming back. She's in a Zygon episode coming up.
There you go. So that one's
kind of solved.
We solved that one. He's coming back. Thanks to us.
Okay, for the following few more series then. Who's you want back?
That's a bit of a stinker of me. Well, I think Danny Pink got a hard time. I think they could have done some more interesting stuff with him and some different stuff.
Yeah.
So
you don't really have much screen time either, really.
No.
It's just the kind of boyfriendish person.
That's why I got a great link with Danny Holmes. Especially, Danny's been hugging her all the time, and I've now hugged her. It's kind of like we're now in the club, so it's quite cool.
I mean, Shane's going to want to hug you after you know that, right?
Yeah, no. I'm
going to say this is the closest I could get you to Jenna, and he's going to say that's fine with me.
Yeah.
So, obviously, any closing comments and things like that? We can send the guys back downstairs.
No question. To both of you, if you could pick any actor to play, if it was your choice, you could pick any actor to play the next Doctor. Who would you choose and why?
Question that's come up in each of the Doctor Who Q&As, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's an interesting concept.
It's a really tough one. I mean, yesterday I did say Robert Downey Jr. just because he's one of my favourite actors and I would love to see.
He's come a long way as well from what he's, he was on hard drugs for quite a long period of years and he's come back and he's doing really good.
He's amazing. I mean, I would love to see his kind of take on the Doctor because he has such interesting character choices and everything with his characters. So it'd be interesting to see what kind of journey the Doctor would have with him.
He would make a good Doctor with all the quirkiness.
Yeah.
As well.
But
you know, he's not a serious person at all.
yeah.
Rowan Atkinson.
Yeah.
But then on a female term, Joanna Lumley. Because you can see obviously the kind of reaction. You can imagine sending Joanna Lumley into a battle. Quite interesting.
But I do want to see a Welsh actor be the Doctor.
Have you seen the series Forever?
No.
I don't know the actor's name, but he plays an American sort of doctor, but he sort of can never die. He
Like
sort of every time he dies, sort of regenerates straight away into water.
So it's like Jack kind of like Jack.
And he's also from Cardiff as well.
Oh
Okay.
right.
He's in Fantastic Four.
Ewan Griffith.
Yeah.
Cool.
He's really good.
And I'd like to see him as a doctor.
What about Michael Sheen as a doctor?
Michael Sheen
Yeah.
would be good, yeah.
Yeah.
Annie Hopkins as an older Doctor.
Yeah, absolutely.
Me as a doctor? There you go.
With the bows, of course.
Yes. So we like the ribbons are cool, not the bow ties.
Or a female Welsh Doctor, you know.
Yeah.
Just saying,
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
we can start the campaign now.
Or have two doctors, not have one but split and have two.
Again, the storylines of the Doctor could go anywhere. Couldn't
Yeah.
he? So he could split into two and have.
Well, yeah, they could do another timeline sort of thing with 3 doctors, or
Yeah, good.
or like in the past the 5 doctors.
Yeah, you have a good side, the bad side. You know, you can actually have.
Yeah, split into two. That's an interest. I think we've got something here.
Yeah.
Somebody copyright that immediately. We came up with that right here.
Yes.
2 doctors. If that happens, they
Or
steal it
two,
from
or
us.
2 masters.
Exactly. Yeah.
They also never really explained what happened to his daughter neither.
No.
They've left
Yeah,
out,
yeah.
but
She
if
sort of
they
just
want to
thought she
bring
was going to
back-
come in and be like a more iconic.
Well,
We
possibly.
never really
Yeah.
With the new series
said
coming
that
up.
she's probably dead.
Somebody did mention, didn't they? Somebody's prediction in one of the panels yesterday was that the next Doctor would indeed be his daughter. You know, that's the sort of thing that they're reaching with. So somebody had that idea.
Because
as well.
they say that she died, but come on, if she's part-time Doctor, she could very well just come back.
Yeah.
Plus, he's got a time machine, so is anyone dead?
Anything could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We want K9 back.
That was-
K9, bring K9
Yeah.
back, yeah. Or an up-to-date version.
Yeah, well, even going back in time to get K9 back, to bring back to the
Exactly.
future.
It's a time machine. You can do anything you want.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if they're dead. If they died at 5, go back to 4:55 and save them. It's a
Yeah.
time machine.
Yeah.
That's the great thing about it.
When
Isn't it?
K9 dies, they just rebuild him anyway. So
Yeah, it's a
K9
rock.
Mark 20 or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Didn't
Exactly.
they send K9 off for somebody?
Only with Sarah Jane, obviously, that was the only the nearest they
Yeah.
got. But there's potential they could.
But they sent him back after he'd exploded and they rebuilt him for Sarah Jane. So Doctor
Yeah.
can always knock another one up. It's
Oh,
fine.
yeah.
Well, guys,
Reading of it.
any final questions or comments before we release them? They do have obviously visit them downstairs. They've got photographs. They're happy to do pictures and autographs and all that.
And I'm doing
Please
singing as
visit
well
them.
downstairs.
He's going to do some singing at the karaoke section in a moment as well.
Yes.
So make sure you follow him for that.
Yes.
But as I say, stop over and say hello to them and everything. You know.
Walking behind you. Oh, is he going to sing?
Yeah.
You're gonna have
What's
a
she
little.
gonna sing?
I'm going to let it go. It might as well.
Don't give him the megaphone. Don't give him the megaphone again.
I'm just doing a kind of I may do a high voice or I may do it middle. But
What's that?
I may have seen his practice briefly.
no, that was dancing.
Well, the dancing was beautiful. I'm just going to say. So if you add the voice to that, it's going to be a great experience.
Yeah.
So
Would either of you guys like to be in Disney?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would.
You grew up
You'd
watching
be-
Disney, didn't
Maybe
you?
we're playing like an Aladdin-ish kind of.
He could play a heck of a
Yeah.
genie, couldn't
With the hair and
What do you think
know,
about
Yeah.
that? You could be a
Yeah.
great
Aladdin
genie.
whole,
grown
the
up.
whole setting of that.
I won't be like a Miley Cyrus, but you may be if you want to, but I'm not going to be a Miley Cyrus style. But I'll do Disney.
I think she's trying very hard to not be offended by the Miley comparison. Well, guys, thank you so much for doing it with us.